everyone, hi, it's Nata here and welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk about one of my favorite knitting needles. This is a set of wooden cubic needles from Lana Grasso Knit Pro. I've been asked several times about these knitting needles and I want to tell you about them in detail. Okay, also I'll show you a sample that is specifically knitted with the same number of knitting needles, but of different shapes and materials. The review is subjective, based solely on my perception and preference. Well, let's take a good look. The box is stone enough. The lid of the box is on magnets. The needles themselves are located on a removable pallet, fixed with elastic bands. The set includes 8 pairs of knitting needles of various sizes from 4 mm to 8 mm. It's immediately noticeable which knitting needles I use most often. For 6 years of frequent use, the knitting needles number applied to the wood began to wear off, but I try to put it back at the end of knitting project so that later I don't have to wonder, what is this knitting needle number? Well, what else is in the set? Next, in the set there are 4 cables for knitting needles: 60 cm, 80, 100 and 120 cm. The cables are quite rigid. The connection of the knitting needle and the cable is smooth, not noticeable, does not interfere with knitting, does not catch, does not distract. It is so convenient for me. The 60 cm cable was slightly deformed when knitting with the magic loop method. Like this. The set also includes 6 stoppers and 4 wrenches for tightening and pouch with a zipper. Now I'll take a couple of knitting needles and show you how to use the keys. The key is inserted into a special hole and the knitting needle will no longer be grooved. Moreover, it will be possible to remove the knitting needle using the key. It's just that easy and simple, the knitting needle will not be removed. I use the keys extremely rarely because it is enough to tighten it on my own. The connection holds well and the knitting needles do not strive to run away. Look at this. Okay, how to use the stoppers. The great advantage of stoppers is that thanks to them you cannot throw stitches on pins or waste yarn. Just close the cables on one or both sides and continue knitting using another cable. For example, like this one side and like this both sides. In terms of content, this is all. Then I want to show a sample knitted with different knitting needles numbered 5.5 millimeters. And I used ordinary wooden needles, simple metal needles and cubics. The sample was knitted at one moment, changing the needles after an equal number of rows. The yarn used was Cartopo Merino wool. The manufacturer recommends knitting needles between 5 and 6 millimeters. Okay, I'm going to knit a sample and we'll look to result. Okay, check it out. From bottom to top, the simple wood needles, next metal and cubics. The blocking did not begin. The stitches dance a little, but that's not the point. Visually, the canvas is practically the same. Knitting density is different. As a result, I knit more loosely with wooden needles once, more voluminous stitches of 4 inches, 8.5 stitches. Metal needles once, 6.2 stitches. And cubics 6.5 stitches. There is also a difference in the rows. In the first version of the rows, it is less than in the other two. With the help of metal knitting needles, the sample turned out to be more compact. That is given the purpose of your work. The result can be adjusted by choosing knitting needles. I would also like to say about cubics. The needles are light, they are comfortable to hold in your hands, they are smooth, quite thin at the tips, but do not cause any particular pain when pushing the needle. In 6 years of use, not a single needle was damaged. And in conclusion, I will say that I really love all my knitting needles and knit a lot on both metal and wooden ones. It all depends on my mood, on the yarn, on inspiration. Hope you enjoyed the review. Thanks for watching to the end. Bye bye.